the little countdown, which there it is. Okay, welcome to the CrossFit Canada podcast, a place for Canadian affiliate owners and coaches to share their stories and shoot the crap. From there, excited for my guest today, a good friend from across the country for me, Shawn Quigley. So Shawn, you're gonna, even though I just kind of did technically introduce yourself, you're going to introduce yourself, your affiliate, and question of the day. Let's do favorite summer food. What's your favorite summer food? I don't know if there's an East, and I'm asking that wondering curiously if there's an East Coast thing that
Okay.
So anyway, start with the easy things first and then go from there.
All right. My name's Shawn Quigley. I'm co-owner of Kaos CrossFit. The other owner is my wife, Natalie. And say favorite summer food. I guess mango. I'm on a little bit of a mango kick right now. I really enjoy it.
Okay. I was wondering about like your fairly close proximity to Maine, so I didn't know about Maine lobster or lobster rolls. Are lobster rolls a thing for you guys?
They're pretty big here. Not a fan personally, but a lot of people love them.
Okay, there you go. So as you mentioned, you and your wife own your affiliate. How long have you guys done that?
We're coming up on two years this June, so probably in a couple weeks here we'll have our little anniversary.
That's very cool. So I mean, 2 years this June, which is awesome, and one of the things that we'll talk about a little later. But someone watching this, they see your name in red there. Well, they're in the red thing, Chaos CrossFit, and they'll see CFL3. And if they're not watching, they're listening. They just heard that you hold that level 3 designation, which is really cool. I think I love the pursuit of that, but back me up to do you remember your first CrossFit workout, and where and when was it, if you do?
Yeah, it was just under 5 years ago at this very affiliate. Back then it was called Onside Performance Center. It was my very first gym. We'll get into that story, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And my very first CrossFit workout was just an onboarding session with the head coach at that time, Kate Parsons. And she showed me how unfit I really was, just in a very basic onboarding session.
Yeah.
So doing basic things like sit-ups and push-ups and air squats, making sure the form was okay. It was quite the eye-opener.
Was it a workout that they designed? Because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the workout baseline, but that was kind of very popular in the late 2010s, of 500-meter row, 40 squats, 30 push-ups, or 30 sit-ups. It was a descending down, finishing with 10 pull-ups. Was that it, or was it a different workout they designed?
It was a different workout. I guess it wasn't really much of a workout. It was more of a, let's see these movements and see how you move. And obviously 5 years ago, I didn't move very well. Ended up doing push-ups to a box. Despite my age at the time, I was 40 years old. I should have been able to do a few push-ups at the very least. That wasn't the case. So it really showed where the weaknesses were, which was great, I found.
What do you take me through that feeling? Because I mean, some folks might be dejected by that, but clearly you were inspired by it. What do you recall about that feeling? Because again, I think, and I don't take this as any, like you're just saying it exposed you to how unfit you were. And I know you mean that in the most positive light, and like that's not the goal of any onboarding session, but for you, it clearly like lit a fire. And so tell me about that feeling.
Yeah, it was a very interesting feeling. I came up through my 20s and 30s feeling that I was about average.
Recording again. Small technical delay. You were saying 20s and 30s feeling averagely fit. Carry on.
Yeah, so I spent my 20s and 30s feeling about average. I never really went to the gym long term. I did the kind of the gym bro thing for a few months at a time. Nothing too crazy. And then after my big story, we ended up coming to the CrossFit gym to join CrossFit, and just doing something basic like 20 or 30 push-ups felt almost impossible to me.
Sure.
When I tried, and then doing 30 or 40 air squats, I couldn't do without stopping. So that kind of lit a fire under my ass to see if I can't get a little bit fitter, especially considering all the issues that I had. I needed to look at longevity and my health in a holistic approach.
Yeah. And I think, if we backtrack a step further, one thing I know about you from our past relationship is, prior to this conversation, that is you weren't coming from, working at a bank. You talk about your professional background prior to this. And
Yeah, so I was in the Royal Canadian Navy for 22 years. I joined when I was 20 years old, and back then I would say I was averagely fit. I didn't have any issues doing those things. But I mean, as you grow old, in your 20s, late 20s, and into your 30s, sometimes you just don't end up taking care of your fitness, and it goes down, and you don't even realize it.
I think especially, I mean, I don't know, I'm not as familiar with like the branches of the military, but I think there's at least a somewhat of an assumption that in the military there's, I don't know if there's annual fitness testing or anything, but you'd think there's, to come from a military background and then to be humbled, like I said, it's, you could have just as easily been like, oh, I don't need this. I can go back to what I did in the military. That'll get me in shape. But you clearly had like the opposite, was like, okay, I'm gonna use this knowledge that's now in front of me, meaning like this new trainer, and be humbled that way. Was it your professional background that helped you down that road instead of taking the kind of more, I would say, for lack of a better term, arrogant road and try to do it on your own?
No, I think it's more of my personality. Whenever I try to do something, and if I do not very well, or if I fail at a task, something inside me wants to push and try to get better at that thing. It doesn't matter what it is. In this
Yeah,
case, it was fitness, and uh, I eventually just got hooked on CrossFit itself.
that's cool. So you do the onboarding. You're like, okay, I need to get my butt in shape. This is a wake up call. What were those first few months like? Were you? I can assume the answer, but did you just jump in like, I'm going to go every day from now and forever? Like, what were those first couple months like in terms of your frequency and whatnot?
It was exactly that. I wanted to go 7 days a week, multiple times a day if I could.
Sure.
Luckily, we had good coaches back then, and they stopped me from doing that for the most part. They're like, let's start at maybe 3 days a week, and then slowly build up from there until we get to a good level where you can probably come 4 or 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So there were a good little check there. Obviously, or like a lot of guys, my ego got in the way a little bit, and I wanted to lift heavier, go faster, all that sort of thing when we first started. And again, those coaches put the brakes on like they should, and good CrossFit coaches showed me good movement, showed me to start small and work my way up gradually, which was great. That was a great introduction to this.
And so when did you get the bug then, speaking of coaches, when did you get the bug that you potentially would want to pursue coaching?
It wasn't until probably almost 2 years after I started CrossFit.
Okay.
I've always been a bit of a teacher or an instructor myself in my military career. After I was done sailing, I went to the school, and I taught my trade there for close to 10 years. So I've been teaching for a long time, and I felt that I wanted to give back somehow in this community that I just joined, and I felt that my experience lended to coaching, and I love doing it. So.
And then where do you recall your level one? Where was it? Did you do it online or did you do it in person?
I did it in person at CrossFit Moncton up in New Brunswick.
Okay, up at Kevin's gym there.
Yeah.
What do you? So again, like one of the things that people either do or don't know is that the level one really at its structure is very military based in terms of how they they kind of facilitate that weekend with the flow master, the trainer meetings, they sync up their watches and on time. What do you recall, since it was so fresh, about your level one that either still sticks with you now, or those feelings initially then?
Uh, Honestly, the thing that stuck with me the most was the passion from those seminar staff and how they delivered everything. It was a while ago, so I can't recall a lot of the information or a lot of the pieces there. But
Yeah.
what did really stick was the passion from those people to push the knowledge on other people. And it doesn't matter where you came from, who you are, they wanted to give you that knowledge.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like, and that's, I remember a similar feeling. I was like, I don't know that I think now I watch folks do their level ones and I'm like, if their life was changed, that's amazing. I was like, I don't know if my life was already changed, having been a year into CrossFit, and like this was just that next step. But you still sit there, and that first kind of flow master kickoff, you're like, okay, I'm in for something really cool here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really nervous when we walked in there because I was only about a year and a half, 2 years into CrossFit. I was still relatively new. I didn't know what to expect. All I knew is that I wanted to try coaching. So I walked in there, and my instructors were Pete Shaw and who's the other one? McDonald.
JMac, yeah.
J-Mac, yeah. So those two guys were absolutely amazing, and they made everyone feel really, really comfortable because there was a lot of us, and we were all fairly nervous. So
Hmm.
it turned out to be a fantastic weekend. Took a lot out of it. I don't think I learned how to coach. Obviously, I didn't learn how to coach well there, but
Sure.
I got the tools from them to start to learn how to coach. And then that
Hmm.
was the important thing. And I didn't start right away either. I didn't start coaching here when it was onside. I started coaching at another gym later on, probably about 6 months later. And then obviously we ended up back here at this gym.
Yeah. You mentioned the nerves. What do you think? What do you think those nerves were seated in? Was it just the unknown, or?
Yeah, the unknown, and just probably being around people that have been in this business for a lot longer than me.
Yeah.
I felt like the new guy, even with only 1 or 2 years. The people that were taking the level one with me had 5, 10, 15 years of experience in CrossFit. So I'm like, well, what am I doing here with only 1 or 2?
Yeah. Well, I think what's interesting about that is, so when was that when you took your level one again?
That was 3.5, 4 years ago.
Let's say 4 years ago.
Yeah,
Technically speaking, you still could be holding that level one credential and have it be valid, and you having not needed
yep,
that, right? And yet here you are again with the CFL3. So I don't know if this is jumping too far ahead, but like reflecting on those thoughts about being in the room with some individuals who have been doing this for 10, 12, 15 years, and then now here you are 4 years later holding the level three. Talk me through that, like maybe misconception that experience helps, because I think like with experience comes wisdom, but it's not necessarily required if passion and dedication are there.
absolutely. And the drive to better yourself is one of the most important things I found. Experience is great, and it is required sometimes.
Hmm.
But also with experience probably come maybe some bad habits as well. So when somebody's fresh and learning from the best, these people like Pete and J Mac and Matthew and you, we can get that experience from the good people and just push it on instead of having those bad experiences or bad habits. Um, so yeah, I only spent about a year or so with the level one before I started looking at the level two.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a huge game changer. I think that was far and beyond better than the level one.
So with that, then where were you at? Had you purchased your affiliate yet when you took your level two?
Mm,
Do
yes, I
you?
was. Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think back, my memory is not so great, but yeah.
And how did the opportunity to purchase the affiliate come up?
That was actually pretty funny. So I was at this gym for a number of years, and then I went to another gym here in Halifax called North Endurance for about 8 months, just because it was a little bit closer to work, and I could just go from the gym to work really quick. Um, from there, I heard about an affiliate summit that was happening up in New Brunswick, and my wife and I were talking about my retirement from the military. and figuring out what I wanted to do for the next 20 years. And I told her, I'm like, I want to open up a gym. Like, look at what CrossFit has done for me in my life. I want to push that forward to other people. And I'm a pretty loud guy. I don't keep my feelings or my thoughts to myself. So everyone in the CrossFit community knew that I was going to go open up an affiliate somewhere. And my original plan was to open up in Spryfield, where I live. And eventually the word got around to the owners that owned Onside Performance here. And they called us and they offered us the gym. So
Yeah.
yeah, we went with them up to the affiliate summit and we talked a little bit more about it. Felt that it was a good fit. And then we just bought it from there.
What was that process like? A little more like, I'm wondering about. So you get this call where it's like, okay, like, hey, we have, you're selling, we're buying. If you're buying, we're selling, right? And then you guys go to the summit, and probably you were pretty fired up to be like,
Yeah.
let's do this. But there are some due diligence that have to go into buying a business, and we don't need to get into the specifics of the nitty gritty, but was it your wife, or did anyone have to be like, whoa, let's pump the brakes a little bit here, and let's kind of do our due diligence along the way?
Absolutely. My wife is the voice of reason in all things. So I was fired up. I'm like, let's just buy it now. I don't care about the paperwork. Let's just do
We'll
it.
pay them twice as much to make it a faster sale.
Exactly. And she comes from a business background as well. So she knows finances, she knows contracts. She said, let's pump the brakes and let's go through this properly. And funny enough, because the Maritimes is such a small community when it comes to CrossFit and everything like that, the broker that we dealt with, that came from the Onside people, was actually an ex-affiliate owner from Osprey Athletics back in the day. So they closed down their affiliate I think just after COVID or just before COVID, sold their equipment to Onside, and then Onside sold it to us. And that old affiliate owner, Rob, facilitated the whole deal for us.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting.
What was helpful to you guys looking back now on you having a broker facilitate the sale?
Emotions, feelings. Like, if you're going to sell your gym, you probably feel like it's worth a hell of a lot more than you think it is.
Yeah.
And on the opposite side, when you're buying a gym, you probably think it's not worth that. And you're probably fighting to get a price that you think is fair. And then the sellers are trying to get a price to get that they think is fair. And I would say 90% of the time, you don't meet in the middle without a broker or a neutral party in between saying, hey, let's look at this logically, right?
Yeah. And did that process, did that help you or lay the groundwork for some version of the end for you? Like having gone through the process of like unpacking everything and realizing, like I said, truly, as owner operator businesses that are affiliates, right, is we're all going to be keen to say, like, this is what we think it's worth, but it's generally less than that because there's a lot of owner operator labor that is associated with that perceived value. And so as you become, and you and your wife, and again, I mean, your wife has the business background as well, but as you guys become actual now business owners, is there anything that you're like, okay, we've got to do this, this, and this early rather than be in a position to have to do it later?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything right now that we need to worry about in terms of being in that position when we're ready. This is a long-term deal for me. I'm making this a second career. It's going to be probably 20 years before we even look at starting to sell something like this. So, but when the time does come, we have that logic from my wife in the background saying, all right, this is what we have to go through to make sure that it goes properly and smoothly as well. Because even just the tiniest little thing can just take the whole thing off the rails. And it can be very difficult for either the buyers or the sellers.
Well, and exactly. And especially since it is very like passionate, it's a very passionate conversation where, again, having that middle ground, whether it be a broker or an arbitrator or just a friend, being like, okay, everyone, like,
Yeah.
we have to kind of go through. That's why there's real estate agents being like, okay, here's the proposed price, here's the asking price, somewhere let's find somewhere in between there.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel CrossFit is and CrossFit gyms are a prime example of how emotional the owners or people that are invested in the business can be. So it's one of those things where it's not just a gym, right? It's a community. It's everything to the owners. So a lot of emotion does go into it when you're buying or selling, or even just the day-to-day operations.
Yeah. Well, speaking of day-to-day operations, so you guys, you get we'll call it, say you get the keys. I'm again, just saying, like, a Monday morning, you unlock the doors, you turn the lights on, and you're like, okay, second career day one, here we go. What were those first few days like? Or you want to talk about nerves from the level one? I want to know about
Yeah.
nerves from, like, oh shit, I'm now responsible for these people.
Honestly, I think I probably just blacked out for a couple of weeks and just went on autopilot to try to get things going.
Yeah,
We walked into a fully functioning affiliate. So there was no major fires to put out or anything like that. It was a pretty decent gym. So there wasn't a whole lot for us to do. I did end up coaching a lot of classes. I think I ended up doing 4 or 5 a day for like right from day one for a few months.
yeah,
But we did have a number of coaches that would take the weekends and the evenings and everything like that. All of the coaches at that time were part-timers. They had their own careers, like a couple military members, and a few others. So they would do the 9 to 5, and then they would come in and teach some of the evening classes. So my mornings were basically coaching the 4 or 5 in the morning, every day, all day, and that was it.
yeah. So what was the do you recall, like, so you have this functioning unit, which sometimes I feel like can be almost more intimidating than being like, okay, we've got to clean this thing up. I guess in a way it's like, if you look at having to coach someone, it's like, okay, someone's brand new. I'm gonna coach the squat. There's a lot of low hanging fruit that's right in front of me, versus someone who squats really well and I want to try to provide value to them. It's like, oh, this is way harder than I thought. And so even a functioning affiliate, like from a community and culture standpoint, and then the coaches as well, you know, was there anything that you went in was like, okay, this is not that you had to win them over, but you know what I mean? Like, is just to, like, earn their trust, I guess, maybe is a better question.
Yeah, you absolutely had to. 100%. I had those feelings right away. And
Yeah.
I think those feelings were valid as well. I came in, I was a member of Onside
Yeah.
for a couple of years before I left. We left for about 8 months or so just because of location and everything. And then when I came back, all those same coaches were still there, obviously. And I did have to win them over because I came from day one starting CrossFit. I moved horribly. I couldn't do a lot of the movements, and they tried their best and they did a great job. But now I'm going from a member straight to an owner and no coaching, not a whole lot of coaching experience in between that. Um, so there was a lot of work to win the coaches over. And there, honestly, it was a very smooth transition. Everyone's very open and honest about what they liked, what they didn't like, what they wanted to see changed, what they wanted to see stay the same. So it was a really good transition for us,
Yeah.
thankfully.
And I mean, I think even from a broader coaching perspective, like from those early days that you just mentioned, like, what advice would you give because what I hear is like, yeah, I didn't move the greatest, I didn't have a ton of coaching experience, maybe I couldn't even have done some of the movements, and now I am in a leadership position from there, and it's like being able to do all those things is great. Moving well is awesome because of demonstration, but what advice would you give based on your experience for those who maybe have that, like, imposter syndrome because of those things, but realizing maybe they're just also, I call them invisible barriers or glass ceilings.
Hmm. We talk about talk about this a lot in the military, and it's the difference between being a leader and being a boss. So being a leader means you're leading from the front. You're doing everything that your team does with them, right? You have to listen to them, especially the ones that have been there for a long time and know what they're talking about. So I had CrossFit level 2 coaches when I first bought the place, and I sat them down. I'm like, what do I do here? Like, I want your opinion on what do you want to see changed? What do you want to see stay the same? How do you envision your role in the next 6 months here when the transition is happening? And you got to listen to them, right? They're the ones that
Yeah.
have been here on the ground for most of the time. And then, of course, you have people that are being the boss, which is, all right, this is my place now. I'm changing absolutely everything the way I want it with absolutely no input. And I've seen that before with bosses, and it never ends well. So fundamentally, all you got to do is just listen to your people and take their advice, and really think about it.
Because I mean, there's nothing, and I think of the level 1, like I know one of the things I've heard staff members say is that, you know, questions are encouraged, dialogue and back and forth is really encouraged at the level 1. And if there's a question that they don't know, a seminar staff doesn't know the answer to, they're encouraged to say, hey, I'm not sure. Let me find out what I can find out, and then let me get back to you. Right? Like it's not a fake it till you make it in terms of like trying to sound like you're an expert or sound like you know what you're doing. It's here's exactly where I am, but I'm going to show you that I also have an idea of where I'm going. That is what earns people's trust.
That's exactly it. Honesty is always the best policy. And we had the same thing happen when I was instructing in the military as well. If you come up with a question, it's better to say, I don't know, but I'll find out for you, than to try and bullshit your way through it. And all of a sudden they are going to lose respect for you, because you're probably going to give them the wrong answer if you just try to guess.
Mm-hmm. And so when you start taking over, you start implementing these changes. What got you excited? And I ask this because like one of the things that at your gym, having seen videos and pictures of it in social media, like it's gorgeous. You guys, I mean, you love the toys. Gets
Yeah.
you excited, you know. So what did get you excited? And after you got your feet wet, you're there, and then you get to just start to have some fun with this thing.
That's exactly it. I'm having fun. So my second career now is to come to this place that we've built now, and just have fun all day, whether it be coaching, whether it be talking to the members, buying the little tiny things that make people excited. Just like even the smallest thing, and be like, hey, that's new, that's really cool, right? And it puts a smile on their face.
Mm-hmm.
Or listening to people's day, right? You're waiting for everyone to arrive for the 4:30 class. I'm usually sitting there about 4 o'clock on the coach's bench, just hanging out, talking to people, and just listening to their day.
Yeah.
That's what gets me excited, honestly.
So then you settle in, you got your level 2, but then of course, as you said, like that wasn't good enough. And it's not, I guess it's not that it wasn't good enough, but you're thinking like, okay, if there's more to learn, then I want to learn more. So when did you have that inclination to pursue your level 3?
Right from the beginning. So as soon as we finished the level 1, I thought, yep, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do, and
Yeah.
I'm going to push forward to do as much as I can. And it's not just CrossFit either. It's I went into get the High Rocks level 1. I have multiple weightlifting certificates. The just the pursuit of knowledge is ingrained in me.
Yeah.
So from the level 2, which might I say is probably the best course that I've ever taken in terms of standing in front of somebody, and just projecting knowledge and movement. We didn't get that from the level 1. The level 1 was very much knowledge based,
Yeah.
a lot of lectures, a lot of that stuff with good movement pushed in between. Whereas the level 2 was straight up all coaching, and that was absolutely amazing. From that point, I looked at the level 3 and the level 4, and I thought, okay, what's my next move? And obviously, logically, the level 3 should be relatively easy compared to the level 1 and the level 2. And boy, was I wrong. There was a lot of knowledge on there, right? So
Yeah.
it took working with you, to really solidify what I wanted to pursue, in terms of like how to focus down onto it. So we worked together, doing my coaching and some knowledge pieces for a while. And then I had a little bit of a difficult time focusing after that. It's like, what do I actually read, right? What do I listen to? And we went onto the CrossFit website and I looked at everything that was there to study, and it was just completely overwhelming. There was so much information there. Like we're talking decades of information, of articles and books and everything. So I tried my best. I went and I challenged level 3 the first time. Didn't do quite as well as I wanted. I think I failed by like 4% or something like that.
Okay.
So I think it was like a 76%. But the great thing is when I failed it, they give you a sheet and they show you what you're lacking in terms of knowledge and what you were strong at. So that gave me a really good focus session of where I can take my time and push to those sections. So then I spent the next 3 months studying again, and I really focused on the areas that I was weak at. Went back and I passed with flying colors.
What? How did the pursuit of the level 3 the first time and the second time, how were you able to then translate that into being a coach and an affiliate owner?
So in terms of the knowledge doesn't make you a good coach, right? Nor does it make you a good leader. But it gives you the toolkit that you can reach inside to and find the answers or find where to get the answers to become a good coach. So if you know you're lacking on a specific part, now you know where to go to get those answers or where to focus your efforts on to improve yourself. I feel that's where the level 3 is probably the best, is it gives you enough knowledge to be dangerous and enough knowledge to know exactly where to go to improve yourself or others.
I always think like the pursuit of the level 3, and I know there are folks who do the level 2 and maybe they have a bit of a cathartic experience with it, but really it's like, it's not rooted in you're a bad coach. It's rooted in here's your opportunities to get better.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're like, I'm nervous about doing the level 3, but I don't know if I want to go back and do the level 2 again. Because for that reason, it's like, well, you learn, so then you start studying. And I always think what's cool about the level 3 and the pursuit of it is you get to see how dense this thing that we do is beyond just putting a workout on the whiteboard.
Oh yeah.
Cool workout, right? Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, absolutely. There was so much information that I had to sift through while studying that I didn't realize was there for CrossFit. Like the level 1 gives you the base methodology, the base things that you need for coaching. The level 2 improves your coaching, and then the level 3 test shows you how deep CrossFit actually goes.
And then so like I wonder about your opinion on this, is like, so as you said, like just passing that isn't necessarily going to make you a better coach, right? Knowledge is knowledge, teaching is another part, but I look at it like you do this level 3 and you're like, man, this thing has a lot, meaning CrossFit has a lot to it. And as a business owner, I'm always like, there's a lot here that I can use to help people.
Yeah. Just like the methodology, it's the foundation of everything else. I find like it's at the level 3 level, but it just shows you what else is there and how deep this actually goes. So it lays the bedrock of everything else that you want to push on top of it. If you want to push for your level 4, if you want to just keep on coaching. And I think probably the level 3 is where we separate the part-time coaches and the people that love doing this to the professional coach, because now we're looking at CEUs. We have to continually update our qualifications and make sure that we're up to date on everything. Whereas level 1 and the 2 is just 5 years and that's it, right?
Yeah, you just go and revalidate again. And I mean, I understand what you're saying. I 100% agree. I guess I would just say like it's the people who's had their lives changed by CrossFit and they know that they'll never not do it. Because I've got a few, well, actually all of my level 3 coaches at my gym are all part-timers and they coach once a week, but they're also people that are like, it's like, hey, it's like do something else other than CrossFit. And they're like, I don't understand what you mean. Or, I have like one coach, she does adventure races and she did a High Rocks and she's always doing something active. But then it's like, at home or at work or at the gym, it's like, well, I'm just going to do CrossFit because that's just what I do. And so it's like, of course I'm going to pursue this next thing because there's still so much more to unpack with this thing.
Yeah, there are certain people that just need to strive for more and more, and it doesn't matter what it is. I love those types of people. It sounds like you have a lot at your affiliate, which is amazing. And that's probably a culture that you've created over time as well, right? So that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to create here at Chaos as well, is the culture of striving for not greatness, but striving for excellence in our coaches, in our community, in everything that we do.
Yeah, and as you said, like that's the job of the leader, right? Is
Yeah.
and then so not that we need to get into like what affiliation is and what you get for it and everything, but it's like it's not HQ's job, CrossFit HQ's job to make us leaders.
No,
It's our job to make us leaders. And I think if you sift through the noise and if you ask the people who have the experience, something we were talking about earlier, the differentiator in leadership in affiliates that are successful or not is going to be leadership.
I think so. Yeah, there's a lot of affiliates and non-affiliates that are out there that just kind of scrape by, right? They don't go that extra mile, whether it be on social media or pushing through the community or updating equipment, keeping things clean. And they just eventually they'll just start sliding down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where the opposite is true of the leaders and the affiliate owners that actually want to do more, right? We're always looking for that extra thing that you want to put into your gym or just do in general to make the experience better for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And then I think one thing that's really cool I've noticed, like in this project of like the podcast and then pursuing some other things, is like, you want to talk about leaders, like there are some really powerhouse leaders in the Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, in basically in the Maritimes, in the CrossFit community. Talk about what that maritime CrossFit community is like, because I think it might be one of the best kept secrets in Canada.
I think you're right. There are some amazing leaders. Just in the Halifax area alone, I know of three other gyms that they'll rival any leaders that I've ever worked with in the military. And one of them actually is in the military. So Pat Horseman from Ironstone, he's an officer in the military as well. And then even some gyms that aren't affiliated here have some amazing people as well. It is definitely probably the best kept secret in Canada. We have some amazing gyms in the Maritimes.
Well, what's cool is like I know I was talking with Meg from Renfrew, CrossFit Renfrew. And I was going to say Renfrew Strength and Conditioning, but they went rebranded, went all in on to fly the flag. But CrossFit Renfrew, and you guys have that High Rock series going, which again is cool. It's High Rock's not CrossFit, but it's still affiliate owners connecting. It's still people like spreading fitness in their area. Like, how has that been beneficial for you guys?
Oh, it's great actually. Not from Renfrew, but from Blended, which is a de-affiliated gym.
Okay.
They've started the High Rock series, the Atlantic High Rock series, which they've brought in, I think, 4 or 5 different CrossFit gyms and a couple non-CrossFit gyms to work together throughout the summer for High Rocks. But on top of that, the owner Dave has actually created an app called Train With Us, which connects all the gyms together in one big community where you can chat with the other gyms, you can share events. So I can go onto my phone and I can look for events from other gyms and join. It's an
Yeah.
amazing little thing that we can do now. And every gym here, I think, has been open to collaboration. A lot of the times we think business owners were competitors, right? The CrossFit gym down the street, I don't want to be friends with them because they're my competitor. They're going to take business away from me. All the gyms in the Maritimes here have the opposite attitude. We're all collaborators. We all want to work together to make things better for the community, which is, I think, is a great thing.
Well, I think that's what Meg had said. She's like, if people are doing fitness, we're winning.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I love that attitude. Again, especially I try to fly that flag high and proud and beat the CrossFit drum, but like really, it's like I just look at, for me, like CrossFit's the tool that I have to help people move and get healthy. And if there's whatever gets it going and gets people moving is the most ideal methodology. Because again, you guys, you're big in, you already said, in weightlifting. And so I'm wondering, do you have any members who basically only do weightlifting?
Yeah, we have a lot of members that only do weightlifting, only do CrossFit, only do high rocks, but we don't we encourage them to try new things, and a few of them have.
Sure.
Some people just don't like the other one. But to go back to your point about flying the CrossFit flag, I
Yeah.
think I may be wrong, but to my knowledge, CrossFit's the only methodology that tells you to go try new things. Right? You're not going to see a power lifter and their sport, their methodology say, hey, go try this, go try running, right? They're not going to do that. CrossFit does, right? So when you're flying that flag, and I'm a firm believer in CrossFit being in the name of everything that we do as well. That's why I
Mhm.
have Chaos CrossFit and not CrossFit Athletics or anything like that. I want to make sure that that word is a powerful word, is out there everywhere.
Yeah, and like the regularly learn and play new sports is like, and we started talking about this like offline before hitting record, but you know, following you guys on social media, I get so many of like, I'm like, you guys collab with so many different other organizations and gyms and whatnot. Like what you guys host so much, so many different events, and that like you're create. So you could say like, hey, go learn and play new sports, but you guys do a great job of bringing those things in house and being like, hey, why not come try it?
Yeah, we've collaborated with a lot of different organizations here in Nova Scotia. Strongman, we've done powerlifting, lots of Olympic weightlifting, high rocks. We've done even some like burlesque shows, like some variety shows here too, which is kind of crazy. So like everything that we do here has one goal behind it, and that's to bring more people into the CrossFit realm.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if they don't do CrossFit, but they've experienced what a CrossFit gym is. Now they know the word CrossFit, right? That's the important thing for me. We've gained a few members because of those things, but that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is just to get that word out there.
Well, and I think too about like it's, I'm not making the statistic up. It is a real statistic. I just don't know the specifics behind it of like it's like 5 times more expensive to bring in a new member than to keep one.
Mhm.
And you had said before we hit record is you guys try to do something every month. Try to have something on the calendar every month,
Yeah.
which what I can appreciate, it's not my style, but at the same time, what I appreciate is the things that I always see you guys doing are some version of fitness related because it's like that's what we're doing. And I don't mean this in any way to criticize anyone who does this, but I see a lot of businesses and affiliates that put things on the calendar that aren't fitness related. And they put a lot of effort into these non fitness events to build their community. And it's like, well, but let's try to remember what we're doing here. So I'm curious of what you see like when you guys host these events, like the strongman, the weightlifting, and whatnot. What kind of engagement do you see around in your members, like leading up to and after, and does it inspire their training for a little bit more, regularity? I guess we'll call it.
It does, absolutely. Because we mention it every day at the whiteboard brief, whatever we have going on at that in that month, we're constantly mentioning it on the whiteboard brief, every single class.
Yeah.
And then what comes out of it is people going to check out new sports. So let's just say, for example, this coming weekend, we're closed on Saturday for Nova Scotia Strongest, which is a strongman competition. So instead of class, there's probably going to be about 10 to 20 members coming here to check out a strongman competition that they've either never seen before or just interested. We've had people compete in the strongman competitions before and Olympic weightlifting competitions. One of the biggest things to switch gears over to Olympic weightlifting is we now have Friday night at the bar. We've had it for a while now. So a lot of our CrossFit members will just come and lift on their own and just be social. And they're just doing Olympic weightlifting, something that they never thought they'd see themselves do 3 years ago. But now they
Mhm.
have a barbell in hand every Friday night, socializing with friends. We have one coach that just kind of oversees everything to make sure everything is good with Olympic weightlifting, and that's it.
And that's, I mean, and the one thing I've always appreciated with the idea of High Rocks is giving your members something to train for,
Hmm.
right? And so, I think when you have these fitness events that you're hosting, whatever they are, it's like you give them something to train for, and it can be specific stuff, it can be open gym stuff, or it can just be, hey, make sure you show up 4 days this week because you're training for this thing versus letting like life get in the way and summertime and things like that.
Yeah, people love goals. One silly thing that we do that we took from the old gym on side was a summer sticker challenge.
Okay.
It's very silly. It's just stickers, but we tell our members to accumulate 30 classes over the course of 2 months. So something relatively easy to do.
Sure.
And they get to put a sticker up on the board on paper every single class that they do. And people go nuts over it. They love it.
Yeah.
So
No,
it's just all about the goals.
I will say, I think anyone who's done the committed club in the past year or 2 years knows stickers are incredibly motivating for 7-year-olds and 37-year-olds
Yeah.
alike from there. So, you go in a fast period of time for an affiliate owner in 2 years, going from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 in 4 years now. What do you see like in this? It's been a short time for you, but thinking of the long road ahead, like what excites you about the next year and then the next 5 years?
I'm chomping at the bit to get my level 4, honestly.
Yeah.
The changes that I've seen come through CrossFit in the level 4, I think are fantastic. It seems like much more of a collaboration versus just a strict test, right? And that's the way of the future for all learning, honestly. Whether it be online or in person, it really doesn't matter. Both work really well. Both have their pros and both have their cons. But the collaboration piece to be able to push yourself to get that little bit of extra coaching expertise behind you, I think is the ultimate goal for me. So I'm on the wait list. I'm waiting for it. I can't wait
Yeah.
for it to come. 5 years, 10 years down the road, I think I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be in here every single day training, coaching. I don't coach every day now. I basically pick and choose what I want to coach, which is kind of nice. I usually do like the lunch hour or the 4:30 or something like that, 4 or 5 days a week. Um, Eventually, I'd love to maybe try to get on seminar staff as well, do something like that. So there's lots of goals. I just got to focus on one and get that goal and then move on to the next.
And what do you think would be some parting advice for an affiliate owner or coach, whether it's a coach who's maybe presented with the opportunity to buy an affiliate, or a new affiliate owner who maybe is struggling to find their identity, anything like that? Like, what advice would you give to either one?
Just lean into it. Find something that works that makes you smile and lean into it as much as you can. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. Just do what you think is right and just push it as hard as you can.
I love it. I always tell people the complaint, or excuse me, the suggestion box is that white bin by the door. Like, we're leaning into this way. No, that's perfect. And on that note, 3, 2, 1, time.